Step into the spotlight.
Oh my gosh, guys. Underground Geek here. And the cringe is heavy this morning. It is thick like a fog of humidity in the air. And it is trying to drag down the flow, man. The flow. It's trying to hold us back, man. So, Ethan Van Sciver, the comic pro world nice guy, he gets on Twitter. I think, I don't think he's had the account that long, but he gets on there, and for the most part, every interaction that I've ever had with Ethan Van Sciver has thrown me for a loop, because this guy is so nice on Twitter and on other social medias to his fans that I started to, at first I was skeptical. I thought there's no way that this guy is that nice. There's no way, because I am just so used to the pros at Marvel and some of the other comic companies being so rude to their customer base that when he did it, it made me question the authenticity. But the more and more I interact with this guy, the more that I've come to find out that he is actually a nice guy. And from his videos that he has on YouTube, I can see that his interactions with his kids show that he is also good to them. They seem like they're a little bit of extroverts because, they've probably been in the limelight so long that they enjoy the attention. And so they interact with him on some of the videos, and it just seems like a very good dad. You would never think that he had been in the comic world for like 25 years. You would never think that, because he's so nice. He's not jaded. He's very professional. He also does this little YouTube channel where he talks about how to draw. I mean, look him up. Look up Ethan Van Sciver on YouTube, and he has a YouTube channel. It's like Comic Pro Secrets or something like that. And he talks about how to draw certain characters. He talks about what happened when he was doing certain books. I mean, it's fun. And he needs a lot bigger fan base than he has right now. So go on YouTube and add him. Just look up Ethan Van Sciver and it should come up. But so he gets on YouTube, and nothing against the guy, but when he starts out talking about it, he doesn't really give any kind of like examples, and that's the only thing that I don't like about when you talk about this kind of stuff. And let's see if I can find the original tweet here. Yeah, he says, I heard a disturbing story about a young gay comics creator who received disgusting, harassing messages. Wish I knew who the sender was. And then one of the other guys on Twitter, I don't know if he wants me to say his name on here, but it shows him on there. But go follow his YouTube channel, Weaponized Nerd Rage. He's pretty good. I like him. But he says, if you can get me some information, we can all call it out. I will spread it around. And that's the thing. Like, our friends and people that we know on YouTube and Twitter are not for this kind of harassment. We're not for it. We are for calling out people that have no talent. We're for that, because when you put them in a high prestige job, like doing a big time character like Black Panther or Captain America or something, but they have no experience and they're terrible at their job, they need called out. If you're terrible at your job, you need called out. Now, what we don't promote is calling out somebody just because of who they are, And I've never done that. I've never seen any one of my friends do that. And please show an example. But so he puts that on there and doesn't show an example. At first, I was like, Ethan, don't do that. That's the #1 problem that we have on Twitter, is people calling out people without any information. Then later on he says, well, I just heard it from a guy. And I was like, oh, man, Ethan, don't do that. But anyway, so then he puts another tweet where he says, he has the Green Lantern on there. He says, good Lord, be kind to each other. We all have differences, but we share a love of pop culture and comics. No one deserves to be harassed. And then the resident bully of Twitter comes online and sees his tweet and just has to respond. That's the thing about SJWs. That's what happened to me yesterday. I had a guy with 34 followers, see one of my posts about the show Orville and proceeded for an entire week to comment on that one tweet and to continue back and forth trying to troll me. And that's the thing. SJWs cannot see something and keep scrolling. They have to tell you why you're wrong. You have to stop what you're doing, and you have to completely be submissive to their thinking. That's the thinking of SJW. You have to stop. You're not as good as me. I am better because I have higher human standards than you. And this is why you're wrong. That's what they try to do. So Dan Slott gets on there and he says, Ethan, I hate to tell you this, but a number of the people you follow have and are regularly harassed female Marvel staffers and marginalized characters. Who's he talking about? Oh, you know who he's talking about. Diversity in Comics, Captain Cummings, a couple other people, probably me, because he's blocked me. Any proof? Any proof, Dan? Any citations on these followers? No? Oh, okay. And then he says, what's even worse, some of them through Patreon and YouTube channels have found ways to monetize their behavior. You're talking about diversity in comics. We've already called you out multiple times because you have no proof. And now you're trying to bully him into stop talking about these people and to change his ways. That's what you're trying to do. That's what you've done to all the other people in the back channels. You've bullied them into shutting them up or getting them fired. And yet you have no proof in this. And so this just goes on. And Ethan, Ethan holds his own. He says there's no reason is a good reason for ongoing harassment. The industry should be safe for all stripes. Even Republicans agreed. And then he gets harassed on his own Twitter tweet about stopping harassment. Look at that guy. Look what he said at the bottom there. I'm not even going to repeat that. Now, yes, I have reported that guy's tweets. I did report them because I know that Ethan's probably not going to because he has a thick skin like me. But you're not going to get on there and write that kind of stuff against somebody that I know for a fact is a nice guy. Okay? You're not going to do that when we're trying to stop people accusing us of doing that. You're not going to go and do the very thing that we're being accused of doing. Okay? That's not right. So then someone else comes on there and calls Ethan a Nazi supporter. And so then my comment was, are you being serious or is this funny? What do you mean he's a Nazi supporter? Then they show me these same pictures here. And then I show them the Bleeding Cool article, which I'm going to put on in the description that says he is in fact not a neo-Nazi. I mean, if Bleeding Cool will come out and say someone is not a Nazi, you're definitely not a Nazi because Bleeding Cool thinks everyone's a Nazi. Everyone just this side of Dan Slott. But anyway, so then he puts a new profile pic of him and his beautiful wife, and that person gets on there and writes something else derogatory. So that's 2 times they've harassed him. And then again they do it. And again. I mean, this goes on. I think it's 4 different tweets. I think I reported 5 tweets in a row where he'd been talking trash about the guy. So that's 5. And before you say, well, you're reporting people, I'm not going to let somebody do the very thing that they say that we're trying to do. That's not right. That's against terms of service. Bye-bye. So my thing is, he keeps on going here and he says, Dan Slott says, well, when we choose to engage in politics online, he doesn't, you did. He just told him that he's trying to keep politics out of it. We take a personal stance for what we believe in and face consequences for it. Yes, you do face consequences for it. You face consequences for being a dummy and letting your sales go below 50,000 on Spider-Man. And then when we go on Twitter to find out what's going on, your Twitter feed says Trump, 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 Spider-Man, Trump, 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 Trump. Hey, did you guys know I write Spider-Man? Trump, 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 Trump. It just gets tiring. And then, Ethan, keeping his cool, says, cool, I'm choosing not to engage in politics online or drama. I'm asking my friends to chill as well. And let's work on making great comics. How about that? How about that, Dan Slott? But then he goes on to tweet, I endure vulgar, vile, loathsome threats and lies and slander every day. At Dan Slott, you do too. I'll bet we can take it. Not everyone can. Dan Slott can't take it either. Dan Slott blocks everybody. I'm surprised Dan Slott has any followers left because he's blocked so many people. That's why his comic book is dying and running in the ground. It has the lowest sales that Spider-Man's ever had. Spider-Man is more popular than Batman, and it's selling half the comics. What sense does that make? And so he says, but I'm in the business of making great comics. That's what I'm here to do. We should all get back to work. This one's for you, Ethan. This right here is for you. That's for you, man. I mean, he's got a better mindset than all of the pros at Marvel Comics right now. If they would hire Ethan back, which he would not go back because they treated him like such trash last time there, but if they hired him back to do 1 or 2 books, I guarantee you they would double in sales. They said, Ethan, we're going to get you to do a Spider-Man book. He would double in sales. You would see Spider-Man do over 100,000 copies, at least for 2 or 3 issues. I mean, it blows my mind. And so I like right here where Ethan's talking about profiting from the people they are making or being horrible to on social media as well. For my homo soapbox, I ask that to stop now. And what Dan Slott doesn't really understand is he's kind of taking a shot at him, because Dan Slott is trying to profit from the very people that he's been horrible to on social media. That's what he's doing. He's asking you to shut your mouth and buy my comic, is what he's trying to do. So I thought that was really funny. He says, this is very serious. I hate to think I follow anyone who is routinely nasty to people on social media. I mean, it would be terrible. I mean, but people are allowed to do what they want. But the thing is, if you're following Dan Slott, you are following someone that's for hate right now, because that's all Dan Slott is. He's for hate of anyone that criticizes his behavior. And so this goes on and on, you know. And my thing that I'm trying to point out is Ethan is one of those nice guys, and yet he's getting harassed on this very tweet that he's talking about stopping harassment. That is the kind of world that we're living in right now. These SJWs go around trash talking anybody that has anything to say besides my feelings or my social justice, my mentions. You know, it's completely stupid. Then you got this one guy on here, he says, it's never okay to harass, attack an individual. If you don't like their work, don't support it. If you have nothing nice to say, be quiet. That's wishful thinking, because that's never going to happen. You're always going to have mean people out there. That's why Ethan is saying to get thicker skin. You know, he says here on another one, I don't know anything you're referring to. An LGBT creator received a hateful message, and I'm saying don't do it, be good. You know, he's generally trying to tell people to don't worry, be happy. And so this is a very good situation, because it points out exactly the prejudice that Dan Slott has, and exactly the anti-prejudice that Ethan has. Because someone tries to call him a Nazi supporter and make fun of his family and say derogatory things about his wife and about cutting his hands off, and yet they have no proof that Ethan does anything wrong. In all the encounters that I've had with him, he's been very nice. So that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you think about the situation with the SJWs in the comic book world, and how Ethan Van Sciver is like a one-man hero out there trying to write good comics for everybody. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Hit the like button. Hit the notifications button. Underground Geek out.